So, hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss on the topic Emergency added to NCERT class 9th. A major development has taken place in India's educational system. The new class 9th NCERT social science textbook now includes a dedicated section on the 1975 to 77 emergency, describing it as a challenge to democracy. This comes soon after India marked 50 years of the emergency and Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan started the NCERT has done the right thing. But why is this important? Is this merely a textbook update? Or does it have constitutional, political and UPSC significance? Let's understand it from the UPSC perspective. So, why is the news? What is the news about it? So, NCERT has introduced a detailed discussion on the 1975 to 77 emergency in the new class 9th textbook. The chapter presents the emergency as one of the biggest constitutional and democratic challenges in independent India. It explains suspension on fundamental rights, arrest of opposition leaders, press censorship, constitutional amendments, restoration of democracy through elections. The change coincides with the 15th anniversary of the emergency. Now, what was the emergency? The emergency lasted from 25th June 1975 to 21st March 1977. It was declared under Article 352 of the Constitution on the ground of internal disturbance. It was proclaimed by President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed on the advice of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Now, the background about it. Why was emergency declared? Several factors contributed. Political crisis, which include opposition movements led by Jayaprakash Narayan, student protests, economic difficulties, inflation, unemployment. In June 1975, the Allahabad High Court found Prime Minister Indira Gandhi guilty of electoral malpractice and invalidated her election. This intensified the political crisis. Now, what are the major features of the emergency? First, suspension of fundamental rights. Several fundamental rights became difficult or impossible to enforce. Citizens have very limited legal remedies. Second, press censorship. Newspapers required government approval before publishing many political reports. Freedom of expression suffered significantly. Third, mass arrests. Thousands of opposition leaders, journalists, activists, and student leaders were detained under preventive detention laws like the Maintenance of Internal Security Act. Fourth, centralization of power. Decision making became highly concentrated in the Union Executive. Checks and balances weakened during this period. Fifth, constitutional amendments. Several constitutional amendments expanded executive authority and attempted to reduce judicial scrutiny. The 42nd Amendment to the Constitution of India is often called the mini constitution because of its extensive changes. Now, why is this emergency called a challenge to democracy? Democracy rests on free elections, freedom of speech, independent judiciary, rule of law, political opposition, and civil liberties. During the emergency, civil liberties were curtailed, political opposition was suspended, suppressed, and media freedom was restricted, and institutional checks weakened. Hence, it is widely regarded as one of the greatest democratic challenges in India's constitutional history. Now, how did democracy return? In 1977, emergency was withdrawn, general elections were conducted, the ruling government lost power, and the Janata Party formed the government. This demonstrated that Indian voters could peacefully change governments through elections. What are the constitutional lessons which we would get? So, after the emergency, important safeguards were introduced. 44th Constitutional Amendment, which was introduced in 1978. 44th Amendment of the Constitution of India, major reforms it included: internal disturbance replaced by armed rebellion under Article 352. Emergency became harder to declare. Written recommendation of the cabinet made mandatory. Stronger parliamentary approval requirements. Better protection of fundamental rights, especially Article 20 and 21. These reforms sought to prevent misuse of emergency powers. Now, why is NCERT including this now? Possible reasons are civic education. Students should understand how constitutional democracy functions. Second, historical awareness. Studying both achievements and crises provides a balanced understanding of India's democratic journey. Constitutional values. The chapter emphasizes liberty, democracy, rule of power, accountability, and constitutional morality. From the UPSC relevance, if I would say, so it is related to the polity subject. So it included emergency provisions, Articles 352, 356 and 360. Fundamental rights, federalism and separation of powers. Second, modern Indian history, which include political developments after independence, emergency from 1975 to 77 and democratic evolution. Third, governance. Civil liberties, media freedom, accountability and institutional independence. Ethics. Now the ethics subject, GS4. It include values highlighted included constitutional morality, courage of institutions, public accountability and democratic responsibility. Now, a balanced analysis would be there. If we would say a positive concern, the positive aspects will be students gain knowledge of an important constitutional episode, promotes awareness of democratic institutions, encourages constitutional literacy, and helps understand why safeguards exist today. Concerns raised here. Some argue textbook discussions on politically sensitive events should remain balanced and evidence based. Others believe all major historical events, positive and negative, should be studied objectively to strengthen democratic understanding. If we will not be seeing the positive and negative both aspects of this, so how we can clarify it? So for UPSC, present both perspectives without taking a partisan position. Now, if I would say you have seen this UPSC perspective, where does this fit? Now, if UPSC means value addition, if I would say, so one liner, if I would say what means, so the emergency was not merely a constitutional event. It becomes a defining test of India's democratic resilience. So, at the last, I just conclude my words by the saying that the inclusion of the emergency in the class 9 NCERT reflects the importance of understanding both the strengths and vulnerabilities of Indian democracy. For UPSC aspirants, the emergency is not a historical episode, but a case study in constitutional governance, institutional checks and balances, civil liberties, and democratic resilience. The key lesson is that a strong democracy depends not only on constitutional provisions but also on vigilant institutions and informed citizens. So, I hope you all gain fruitful knowledge from me, and I hope you have gained I hope you like the view of my explanation. So further, if you want the PDF of this topic, so you can join our Telegram channel, which the link is in the description box. So thank you so much.